This video, I'm going to show you the 7 things influencing your vibration, and you might not even be aware of it. I'm going to show you how to take your power back so that these things don't keep you in low vibration. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron, and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to show you those 7 things. Some of them are a little bit weird, things you probably haven't heard of before, things that you didn't think were actually influencing your vibration. And understand that in life, you experience a reflection of your vibration. Your vibration is a combination of how you think, how you feel, and how you act. And if you want to change your life, you must first off become aware of where your vibration currently is. Now the thing is most of our life is on autopilot. We are doing the same things every day. We are thinking the same thoughts every day. We're going to the same places every day. All of these similar repetitive thought patterns, repetitive ways of being, repetitive energy fields that we're in are causing us to resonate at the same frequency, which therefore means we are getting the same results over and over and over and over again until I'm out of the frame, but then I come back in the frame to explain those 7 things and what they are and how they're influencing you. Now, what I thought I would do that would make this video a little bit more fun is I'm going to walk around my house. I'm going to show you how some of these things are influencing you. I'm going to show you some of the things in my house and how they influence my vibration, how you can become more aware of it. So if you want me to do more videos like that, could you do me a favor and smash that like button? Because then that'll show me, hey, you want me to walk around. You don't want me just to be in front of the stationary camera the whole time. So with that, let's first off understand that as well, before I show you around the house and I show you these different things, your vibration and that level of consciousness I share in every video. I'm going to put it right here just for a second. Okay? You'll notice that on that scale of consciousness, you got at the bottom emotions. You got shame, you got fear, you got guilt, you got anger, you got that of willingness, you got neutrality, you got reasoning, love. These are all different vibrational states of consciousness. Now, in the book Power versus Force, which is where I got this scale, what Dr. David Hawkins shows is that using a process called muscle testing is and involves us connecting to our subconscious mind to measure the validity of certain statements. Now, the scale shows, and what we can do is calibrate different levels of consciousness to see what things resonate at. So for example, we can measure and see what does this genre of music resonate at, and it might resonate at a lower vibration. We can ask questions like, what is the resonance of this person? You can look at someone like Einstein, who resonated at 499, at reasoning. He took the intellect as far as you could possibly take it, and if he would have let that reasoning go, he would have got to the vibrational state of consciousness of love, which is a much higher vibration. So everything resonates at different frequencies. And when you learn how to move up the vibrational scale, you'll raise your own frequency. And what you can begin to do is realize that the more you raise your vibration, the more you experience a reality that is equal to that. So the things I'm sharing with you today are going to resonate at different vibrational states of consciousness, different frequencies, and they're going to influence in certain ways. So with that being said, without further ado, let me show you some of those things and how they influence our vibration without us actually even being aware of it. So let's go. The first thing that's influencing your vibration, and you might not even know it, it's actually the clothes that you wear. So these are some of my clothes. I got too many clothes, but I wear a lot of the solid color shirts. That's just a side note. It has really nothing to do with the video. But however, when it comes to different colors, first off, colors carry with it a different vibration, but also the clothes you wear carry the vibration of the emotions you emit while you wear them. And then if you wear them for a certain period of time, it begins to absorb in that energy. Now, for example, there are certain clothes that I had that I remember I was going through I went through a big transformation back in November of last year. And I went through a lot of personal work. It was bringing up a lot of stuff within me, and I was doing a lot of inner work. And I remember that during that time, I was wearing this sweater right here. Now what happened was after I went through that, about a month later, because it was still cold in Vegas here, it was like in the middle of January, February, I worked through all that stuff, and then I wore the same sweater right here again, and I noticed that I began to feel similar emotions, and I began to remind myself over and over again of that. And it was something I became aware that objects carry energy. And this is a lot of times why as well. I remember that one time, Lior, for example, she was feeling a lot of negative emotion, and she couldn't figure out where it came from. But then she realized, that where it was coming from was she was wearing something she never really wears. It was actually the sweater that she was wearing. And it was a sweater from one of her ex-boyfriends where there was a whole bunch of negative stuff that happened and negative experiences that she had. And what she realized is that subconsciously, that sweater was causing that to come up. Even though she consciously was like, oh, I'm going to wear that because this person got me that. But nonetheless, it was, in a way, she felt like it was influencing her vibration at the same time. And I see this happen a lot. People that wear similar clothes when they were constantly thinking about someone in their life, and what happens is they find it hard to let that person go. Well, it could be because there's a certain momentum to wearing that kind of clothes, plus subconsciously the neuroassociation of wearing that may be bringing you back to that over and over again. So when it comes to vibration, understand something that is powerful to do, not to promote like consumerism or anything, but clear your clothes, which means you can get sage, you can clear it. It doesn't mean you have to throw everything out. It means that you can clear it though. And by clearing it, what happens is you then lessen it and you clear the vibration of what's on it. This is one of the main reasons I don't buy hand-me-down clothes. And I've always been like that. Like I've always had my dad, who I love very much, but he just, sometimes he's like, oh, you can have this, you know? And I know it's some of his clothes. First off, it's not my style. No offense, Dad. But I've just always been really aware that I want to wear things that I'm the only one that's worn it, or I cleanse it. That's just kind of the mindset that I've always had, because I felt like there's an energy that is carried from someone else's clothes. So they could also be a very positive thing. This doesn't have to be a negative thing. It could be something where you felt very ecstatic by this time, you know, you went on this trip to Costa Rica or something like that. And while you're wearing the clothes there, it puts it into a certain perspective, and you're able to feel that. I also have certain clothes that I wear during what's called the plant medicine ceremony in Costa Rica, which is where it's a very positive and powerful experience. And I always wore these white joggers with a certain shirt. And I knew I wore it every single night when I was at those ceremonies, and I felt like it absorbed the information, it absorbed the energy, the emotion every night, because emotion emits frequency. That then what I would do is, even after that, weeks later, I would wear those same clothes when I was making certain videos, and I'd feel this divine energy. I felt like it was just amplified from wearing it back in the day. So understand your clothes are affecting you whether you're aware of it or not. And when you get down to it as well, you can understand that different colors have a different vibration. And this has to do with different frequencies, has to do with the way that it makes it appear. I remember I was at the gym, and there was this guy that watches my videos. He's like an older business guy, and he said something about, like, he knew that there's psychology with clothes. He told me not to wear black anymore because black is like a very serious color. He said, for videos, people get a better first impression of you if you're wearing like softer colors, like blues and colors like that. So it does affect us in ways that we're not even aware of, and your clothes are affecting you. If you find yourself feeling negative emotion, if you find yourself, it's hard to forget of certain things, there may be an association there that's keeping you in a way kind of locked into feeling that way because of the energy momentum that's been put inside the clothes. So either cleanse the clothes using sage, maybe use some type of water, or do some little ceremony that resonates with you. Also, this has to do a little bit with the belief system, as well as what you think will help you to cleanse the energy of it. But regardless, clothes do carry with it a certain frequency of the person that wears it, a certain emotion that is emitted out. And if you want to cleanse your clothes, you can do so with sage, and there's different ways to do that. So this is the first thing that's influencing your vibe, and you may not even know it. All right, now the second thing that's influencing your vibration, and you might not even know it, is the location that you live in. So the city that you live in, where you live, has a certain vibration. And I live in Las Vegas. There's a certain vibration here of people wanting to really indulge, especially if you get closer to the Strip. There's an energy field on the Strip where you might walk around and then feel the inclination to go gamble, even though you never really gamble. There is an inclination to bet on sports games. There's an inclination, all these thoughts. Like, thoughts are literally things. When people think thoughts in certain locations, that goes out. And what happens is those thought forms are floating around, and other people may pick them up thinking they're their own thoughts when actually they're the thoughts of their environment. Now, every city, every place has a certain vibration, and depending on where you live, there's a certain vibration there. Now, the city you live in maybe is affecting your vibration, whether you're aware of it or not. But the reason I'm showing this is this right here is Machu Picchu. I've never actually been there, but I feel a very strong connection to it, and I will eventually go there in the next year or two. And Machu Picchu is considered a sacred site. There are many other people that go there that are in awe, that feel a certain way when they go there, so that adds to the energy. But also, there's an ancient history here where there's a certain vibration that is carried that has been there for thousands of years. Now, there are many different sacred sites on the earth, and if you were to look it up, there's also different chakra points on the earth as well with different energy, different types of energy. But nonetheless, when you go to these sacred sites, you will feel a different vibration. When I go to Sedona, Arizona, which I'm going to in 2 weeks, when I go there, there's a certain vibration, and I feel like it amplifies, and I feel really good while I'm there. And there's different vibrations depending on where you go. When I go to LA here in a couple days, I'm going to go to LA, and there's a lot of energy because there's a lot of people. And sometimes it's a lot for me. That's why I only go there for like 4 or 5 days at a time. But nonetheless, the vibration of where you live is affecting you. And there's different cities. You can also use this to travel. It's very cool and very interesting to understand, because then you see wherever you go, you will feel and become a part of that vibration itself. So be aware of where you live. Be aware of even your house. When I'm in a certain, like this is my bed's right over here. The bed has a certain energy to where when I'm in my bed, I am only going to sleep. There's only 1 or 2 things I do in my bed. Other than that, I don't read in my bed. I read over here in the corner. And in that corner, I read because I want my bed to be associated with sleep. There's a certain vibration I feel when I'm on my bed. So it's an understanding of these different dynamics and how they affect you. I remember one time I was in a certain part of my house, and then I was thinking of something in a room that I'm normally not in, and then my thought forms, I was thinking of something, and then I left that room. 2-3 days later, I go into that room, and I started thinking of that same thing again. Could it have been the neural association? Maybe. Could it have been those thought forms are just lingering there because no one else is going to that room, and then I go in there and I pick up those thought forms again, and those ideas pop into my head? Maybe. Thoughts are literally things. Cleanse your space, cleanse your energy, cleanse your own energy field, and understand that the city you live in is affecting your vibration whether you are aware of it or not. All right, now the third thing that is influencing your vibration, and you might not even know it, is whatever media you are consuming. For example, you might watch Netflix, and you might watch some murder mystery on Netflix. And when you do that, you are tuning to that vibration, and it is affecting you whether you're aware of it or not. You may be developing beliefs subconsciously that there's something to be afraid about in the world, and you may actually be attracting negative things happen to you because you are feeling in that fearful state. You may be watching something on American Greed where you see all these people that are doing very naughty things because they're greedy, and you may start to also associate certain things with that mentality, with being greedy, or starting to assume that that's how a lot of people are in the world that are wealthy. Who knows? Everything that you pay attention to is subconsciously influencing you. So be aware of what you are consuming when it comes to Netflix, when it comes to even the news. The news is another big one as well. Whatever you tune to, you are tuning to vibrationally as well, literally. So if you're tuning to the news, which is talking about all this negative stuff happening in the world, well, guess what? That negative stuff that's happening in the world, you're going into believing that the world is a horrible place and there's all this bad stuff happening, and that's developing and influencing your vibration. A lot of the media keeps you in lower vibrational states of consciousness. So when you're aware of that, you could then choose not to listen to it, not to watch it, and when you do that, that's when you start to take your power back. And if you do it, you do it with awareness, and you just don't watch things that you know are bringing down your vibration. So become aware of that. Now, go right into the fourth thing. The fourth thing is the music you listen to. The music you listen to. A lot of people don't know this, but I actually asked Bashar a question about this. You guys don't know who Bashar is? I've been listening to him for a while. He's been around for like over 30 years. But I went to a conference and I asked him, and I said, yo, Bashar, I always realize that when I'm listening to a very pop music song, like a music that millions and millions and millions of other people are listening to, what happens to you when you're listening to that music, if you're singing along to it, if you're thinking in that frequency, you pick up on all the other people that are also in that frequency singing that song. You start to resonate with them. So the key to this is being aware of it, because you may be thinking of a song which carries a certain vibration, by the way. If you're listening to some like a hardcore rap song, and it's talking about getting to the money and doing this and doing this and doing this, then what happen is that will tune you to that frequency of the ego, to that lower frequency, and then you'll be resonating at it, and while you're singing that song, you're also picking up on the thought streams of all these other people that are also thinking and feeling the same way, and like, yeah, God, give me to the money. So you'll start to feel that energetic pull. So these things that I'm sharing with you, it's subtle, but it's still there. It's still influencing you whether you're aware of it or not. The idea is to do it with awareness and to be aware of it. So this is one of the other reasons when it comes to these frequencies, when you start to curse a lot, that's why I try not to curse too much, not because I'm a goody-goody or anything like that. I do curse sometimes, actually. But when you do it, you start to also connect to these thought streams of a lot of other people that are cursing, and many people that are cursing are doing it out of a sense of anger or out of lower vibrational states. So you may also find yourself resonating with thought forms that you don't prefer to experience. Because the idea is you can go through a thought form, like for example, when you're driving, you may get angry that somebody cut you off. And it might not just be your energy that you absorbed. You may also be on a street where many other people have been cut off before, and you feel the energy almost amplified. Well, the key to this is if you remain in a positive state, that doesn't influence you. It's about observing it and moving through it. So that's something else that influences yours as well. So you got the media, you get to see the beautiful city. I was talking about the place earlier. The city that you go, that you travel to, I didn't realize there was cars moving and stuff. Wow, that's pretty cool. Anyways, these things all have influence of us whether we're aware of it or not. So with that being said, let's move on to the next one, right? Meow. All right, now the fifth thing that is influencing your vibration, you might not even know it, is if you read books. When you are reading a book, you are tuning yourself to the emotions, the feelings, and the thoughts of the author, him or herself. So, for example, when you tune to, let's say, this book right over here. I got all these Law of One books right here. These are actually really good books, by the way. Law of One books, when you read it, it opens you up to a new understanding of the way the world works and stuff like that. So there's a certain vibration with that. But you also kind of get teleported, and you feel what those emotions were when those people were there. And you'll notice that as well with a lot of books. If you were to read a book by one of your favorite, let's say, self-help people, maybe you read the book of Mel Robbins, The 5-Second Rule, or Tony Robbins, all these Robbins, Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within. In a way, what you do is you pick up on the vibration, the feelings, the emotions of that person whose book you're reading. So one of the main reasons I like to read the book that's called The Power of Now is because by just reading the book, you'll see what I mean. You start to become very present to the moment. You start to get and feel the thoughts or the lack of thoughts of Eckhart Tolle, who wrote the book. So books influence your vibration more than you know. And the key to this, it's one of the reasons I like to read this book right here. Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, or he's got many different books, but this is Yogananda right here. And he wrote the book Autobiography of a Yogi, which is the book that Steve Jobs read every year, the last 40 years of his life. It's also the only book that he had on his iPad. And it's a book by an enlightened guy that talks about his experience of going through enlightenment. He has a very high vibration. He's known for bringing yoga to the West. And when you read his books, you pick up on his thought frequency, on his emotion, on how he feels. You just feel there's a certain vibration that the books carry. And all these things I'm sharing with you, by the way, as well, can be calibrated. And they many times are calibrated. And it's talked about in the book Power versus Force. But certain books, like the book Power of Now, I believe resonates at over 500 level of consciousness, which is of over love, which is very powerful. And that's why I think it raises a lot of people's frequency just by reading it. Autobiography of a Yogi also resonated at a high frequency. All the different authors resonated at a certain frequency. My teachings resonated at a certain frequency. And when you're tuned to it, it tunes you to that frequency. So understand this is all energy. This is how all of it works. And the key to this is just simply becoming aware of it. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about as well is there's nothing really in my house that I could show you for this one. But the sixth thing has to do with events. Events. So different events. For example, the Super Bowl. Let's say the Super Bowl. This is why a lot of people that aren't really interested in the Super Bowl may want to watch the Super Bowl because they feel the energetic pull to do it. They feel like there's so much attention on it. It almost makes it more interesting. Events also carry a certain frequency. Fighting events do, like the UFC, which when it's here in Vegas. Sports events carry a certain frequency. Different sports have a different vibration when you tune to it. I know basketball resonates at I know out of all the sports, basketball actually resonates much higher, like 300 something, which isn't the most, Olympics. A lot of Olympic sports will actually resonate even higher, like ballet and ice skating resonate at, I believe, like 400 or 500, which is really high for a sport to be resonated at that level. But nonetheless, it's about being aware of these things. When you're tuned to different events, you are tuned to what is called the pendulum of that. There's a process called reality transfer, and I've talked about pendulums before, but there's these thought structures that start to gain gravity, and you start to feel the pull to watch it. So when it comes to something like the Super Bowl, when it comes to something like the Oscars, award ceremonies, when it comes to something where there's a lot of attention on it, it carries with it a certain vibration and the accumulation of all the people that are also focused on it. So it's very interesting to think about, but the next time you're watching, oh, there's my ring light. The next time you're watching something, realize that there's a lot of other people focused on it too. Everyone's adding collective energy to it. Now, the last seventh thing influencing your vibration, you don't even know it, is you. You are the one that controls your vibration or that allows your vibration to raise. The way that you raise your vibration is not by attaining a new perspective, it's by letting go of everything that doesn't serve. Letting go of things that are holding your vibration down, and then your vibration naturally begins to rise back up. Think of it like a bob on the ocean. Just naturally bobbing along. You push it down, it's under the water, but how do you bring it back up? You just let it go. It sinks right back up. You are a high vibrational being that is maybe banged into some things that kind of got caught up on you, and then that's what's keeping you in low vibe. So the key to this is being aware of all of these things I'm sharing. Now, what is the solution to all of this? It's awareness. Observe how you feel. Observe these different vibrations and how they may affect you. And is it the end-all be-all if you're wearing clothes? You don't have the money to buy new clothes. No. Cleanse your clothes. Put intention through it. Whatever resonates with you, go with that. But the key to this is awareness. If you're watching the news and it's making you feel low vibration, does it mean stop watching the news? Maybe. You got to find out for yourself. But maybe also what it means is you just do it with more awareness, or you limit your time doing it. And the more you bring your awareness into this, the more that you can really model and mold your vibration to what you want. Realize that your outer reality is a reflection of your inner reality. And if you change how you think, how you feel, and how you act, your whole entire life will begin to change. How can you use this as well? Read books from people you want to be more like. If I want to be more like Tony Robbins, I might read his book. If I want to become more present to the moment, I might read The Power of Now, or reread The Power of Now. You read and understand there's frequency all around. And if you tune yourself to the frequency you want, you will experience that reality. It's like a radio dial. But be aware of those static that things that may be causing you to feel that static. And all it is it's a mistunement of energy. The awareness wasn't there, but now it is there. As you're aware of these things, you start to put your vibration in a powerful way, and you start to go in that direction. So, like I said, if you like this style of video where I show you things, can you smash that like button and let me know? Say, hey, I like this kind of video. Comment below if you can think of any other things that influence your vibration, or what your favorite one today of learning was, one that maybe you didn't know. Other than that, if you want a meditation that helps you to raise your vibrational set point, I have that in the top of the description box below. It's absolutely free. Listen to it and read the comments on that video to see what's possible with it. Listen to it for 21 days. I think it'll change your life. And other than that, as always, hope to see you on the next video. Peace, much love, and namaste.